B-boy. From the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide. We supposed to be blessed, still a B-boy.
This week, we're heading to Memphis, Tennessee to talk about a group that blazed their own trail. Although elements of their sound can be connected to dots here and there, 666 presented it in their own way. This week, we're getting crunk, I think for the first time on the podcast. Top 10 3-6 Mafia songs. Joining me, as always, Raven Hunter's in the house. We got my man, the Hurricane. Riplak is back too. We got a full house. Let's talk about some 3-6 Mafia. And as always, I'll start. And I'm going to the year 1997. That one was Chapter 2, World Domination. And this should come as no surprise. 3-6 in the morning. Yes. The classic Ice-T song they remade, put a 3-6 twist on it. And it's a perfect blend of the original and that 3-6 sound of the, mid-90s. And when it ends with the word, just like the actual song does, gets me every time. There was no way this was not going to make my list, right? And it's just Lord Infamous rapping on it. So yeah, 3-6 in the morning was a lock on somewhere on the list, so it slid to 10. Kane, you were up next. What's your number 10?
I got you shaken off of Chapter 1. It's a dope diss song. I love that they take his beat and use that. Gangsta Boo goes off on him, and they all do. Then I didn't know, I've known this song, but I never knew like why they did this song, and I looked it up, and it was, I guess, some members that were in 3-6, and they left, and then they used Play a Fly. And then they left, and he used their beat. And he did a diss song, Triple Bitch Mafia or something. Which,
I don't think I heard. I don't remember that one.
No, I listened to it. It was all right.
I want to check it out. That was an honorable mention. I agree. That was a really dope song, and both of Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, I almost kind of look them at double albums. Kind of. They're good companion pieces. They both got a lot of dope stuff. So already crossing them off on the first person. Riplak, what is your number 10?
I have this one because this is a beat that we had like a burn CD full of beats before I ever put anything on a track. We used to just freestyle. And that's the only reason this one made it. It's Where the Killers Hang on the end. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that one, but the beat's really like it's like really slow and airy, but we used to love that one because it was just slow. We used to just we used to start with that one and just catch a rhythm, and just like it brings back those fun memories. Used to pass the blunt around in the 40s, all that stuff.
All right, number 10, Raven.
So I start off our list kind of cheating. It's not from a typical 3-6, so I want to get this out the way. It's from the Tear Club of Thugs, Crazy in the Last Days. 3 of the members plus other members on like every song. I count it as a 3-6 album. But I went with Throw Your Sets with Crucial Conflict because I love that beat, and I always really love Crucial Conflict, and I really like they put out like 4 or 5 albums, but you only heard of like 2 of them. So I had to hunt to find, and that's a different playlist. That's a different day, but Crucial Conflict's awesome. Yeah, Throw Your Sets.
Yeah, and I don't think that is a dope song. And I count that album. But I don't think Crucial Conflict's ever been brought up on the podcast. Yeah, super dope. They kind of get overshadowed by like Twista and Do or Die because they're in that same vein. They had a little hit with Hey, but they're super dope, and not enough people know their name. We could almost do a top 10 fast rappers from Chicago. They seem to like that fast rap down.
That would be pretty dope, though.
In the Windy City. A Crucial Conflict is dope, yeah. I'd love to go through their stuff. All right, we are to 9, and I'm going to go to 96's Chapter 1, The End, with Get 'Em Crunk, the one with the Eazy-E sample from Nobody Move. It's done so well, and all the members kill it, and the beat's a bit faster, but it works. All these 3-6 Mafia albums are all strictly production was just Juicy J and DJ Paul handled all the production, even up to the albums where they were, selling 1 million albums. And that's so impressive to have just those two handle production, especially later on in an era where people just handpicked producers, one here, one there. And what a great fucking sample. And just a unique sound and so much love to Gangsta Boo. I mean, she might be the hardest sounding one in the whole group. I mean, one of the most hardest female MCs ever. And she might be my favorite 3-6 member. So yeah, get 'em crunk with that Easy E sample was my number 9. Kane, what's your number 9?
I got Popping My Collar off Most Unknown. I like the idea of, just popping your collar. I think, it's funny, makes you, gets you hyped up. The song definitely gets you ready to party. The chorus is very catchy. It's just a good party, feel good song.
What 3-6 is so good at is they have the most simplest hooks, but they're so effective, and you always go along to them. But they're on paper, they're very simple. There's not a lot of words, but it always just works for some reason. I mean, we'll talk about that time after time, all these songs. I don't know what it is. You just want to sing along with 3-6 Mafia. We are on 9 and we are on Riplak. What do you got?
Okay, well, that was my mistake before because this one's from '95. Break the Law, the original Break the Law.
Oh.
Yeah, just because it was the original. I love the hook. Can somebody remind me which one that? Because this one's just Break the Law, Break the Law. But what was the one that was like Break the Law, we ain't playing, Break the Law, we ain't playing? Is that off like someone else's, like Project Pat or something? Does anybody know?
I don't know. I don't
I
recognize it.
I don't know offhand.
Can't figure it out. Like I was checking everywhere today, but I do like that song, and I wanted to bring some of their old stuff back on my list.
Right. That first album was, I looked at it kind of as groundbreaking as there wasn't really a sound like that. But you look at 95 Mystic Styles and then go to just a year and then 2 years later, how much they advanced and evolved. It's so impressive. So when I listen to Mystic Styles, I'm like, I like this. But then when you start going to the end and world domination, it's like, holy shit, did they level up fast? Man, impressive. But I'm glad Mystic Styles gets some love. And now I'm interested. I might have to Google that
Yeah,
version of that song.
Yeah, I really like that version, and two of them I found are not that.
That version.
The Mafia 6 has another Break the Law, but that hook doesn't do that. It just says Break the Law. I don't know. I'll
Was
find
it off one of the? Because I know they have like Kings of Memphis where they do like remixes to these songs.
it. It could. I didn't get super deep into it, but like.
And another thing they do is they'll just have like the same song on 2 albums in a row. And you can't like, I don't think there's a difference between them. It's just like, man, this song is so dope. Let's put it out again. And that always makes me smile. But I came across that a handful of times too. But yeah, we'll have to look that one up now. You made me curious. Raven, what is your number 9?
So yeah, the end and World Domination, 100%. That's their golden era for me. That's their best 2 albums. But World Domination, I think, ended up kind of inching it out for me this time. I went to that album, 97, with the song Flashes, because all the members are dope, but Coop Stanika just completely murders that beat. Like, he just kills that song. And I love Coop. Coop or Scarecrow are my 2 favorite for sure. And just Coop kills Flashes.
But I agree. I think Volume 2 edges out, or Chapter 2 edges out Chapter 1. And actually, for someone who always prides myself on being up on the latest hip hop in the 80s and 90s, although I knew of 3-6 Mafia, I didn't buy a 3-6 Mafia album until the Chapter 2 World Domination. I knew of them and a few songs, but I just must have not have been feeling it, so I just passed them up. But after I listened to World Domination, I instantly went back, bought the end, found a Mystic Styles in some used CD store. And damn, I was wrong on that one. I should have been winning from the jump. But yeah, that volume 2 is what made me go back and check out what came before it. We are at number 8, and I'm going to the year 2000, new millennium, When the Smoke Clears. And you just said ICP. I'm going with Just Another Crazy Click featuring ICP and Twisted. And I never thought this would make my list. Going into this, I was like, there's no way that's a top 10 3-6 Mafia song. But then it would come on, and I had to be honest with myself. I just really like this song. It's really entertaining. To me, when I first heard 3-6, they reminded me of Project Born from those early psychopathic days. So then hearing ICP with them, I don't know, that connected in my brain. But you got Juicy J and DJ Paul Killer verse, Gangsta Booze on the hook, Twisted sounds like Twisted in 2000. But I can't front. I really like the ICP's verse. I think it's really dope. And when Two Dope says, right in Tim Dog's face, I throw the dubs up, I fucking laugh out loud every time. Because I know 90% of juggalos or fans like that have no clue who Tim Dog is. They don't get the reference, why it's so fucking funny. But that gets me every time. So I had to look myself in the mirror and be real. I did it. Just another crazy click with Twisted in the Clowns. Was my number 8. Kane, what's yours?
I got Will Blast off of chapter 2. It's kind of an intro. Well, it is an intro, I guess. Well, there's 2 tracks before it, but each one of them goes through and it kind of introduces themselves. But the thing that got it put on the list is the sample from MASH. Like, I love that they put that in that beat. That's just, when I first heard it, I was like, what is that? What's that from? Like,
Right.
what's that? It's like, that's fucking MASH. Like, that's dope.
Paul and Jay, I mean, I didn't even necessarily, I figured in the beginning, I knew they did a lot of the production, but when I kept looking, Smoke Clears, shit, what came next? Like Unbreakables, Most Known Unknown, they were still just handling the production themselves. And when I started looking at it that way, they did a lot of genius shit like that. And no one talks about them when they talk about, producers, including me. But I kind of had to rethink that whole thing and look at them like, damn, they're really fucking talented when it comes to production. Forget even their lyrical stuff or they're not lyricists, but all right, I'm rambling. So number 8, Riplak, what's your number 8?
Number 8, I also have Pop in My Collar. Love the hook, love the beat with it. Just because, the ever since I can remember. I love it. It's a good song. I didn't know if it was gonna make it or not, but I played around a little bit and it came in and out.
And you cannot not sing along like most of their hooks. I mean, I sing along with that shit like some pimping motherfucker, Even if I don't have a collar to pop, I'm pretend popping it. So number 8, Raven, what made your list?
Number 8, I went to chapter 1, the end, 96, to Walk Up to Your House. I love that beat. I love that hook. I've done my own little sample of that in a verse a couple of times. Just walking up to your house, knock on your door, and blow your ass out. I love that shit.
That was my number 11. That was what was in the slot for the ICP feature that got kicked out. I love that song. I'm so glad it made someone's list. But speaking of dope hooks, my number 7, I'm going back to 97's chapter 2 World Domination with Hit a Motherfucker. If someone said, oh, I never heard of 3-6 Mafia, play me one song that kind of gives me the vibe of 3-6 Mafia, I probably would play Hit a Motherfucker. That catchy hardcore type hook is so simple, like I said, but effective. And for real, I hear this and I really honestly want to go hit a motherfucker.
I bet you go.
Yeah, right? I mean, you just want to. It's crazy. This era 3-6 is so damn good. And yeah, hit a motherfucker just always gets me mad hype. So that was my number 7. Kane, what about you?
I got the Summer, the remix though, off of the King of Memphis.
Yep.
Yeah. I like the original one off of Mystic Styles too, but this one is way better. The verses are way better. The chorus is the same, but they started out the same, but then they changed the verses and it's way better. And once again, I know we mentioned her before, and you mentioned her being the best member of 3-6. Gangsta Boo just kills that shit. Like, if there's one person I know more verses from 3-6, I know
Yep.
Gangsta Boo's verse is better than anybody's.
Me too. I think she's I actually know she's my favorite member. She's the shit. And I probably told this story on the podcast before, but my Gangsta Boo story. So it was like season 1 or season 2, and I was just strictly doing interviews, and I was reaching out to everyone, and I reached out to Gangsta Boo, and her manager got back at me and said she'll do the interview, but it'll be for $500. And it's like, well, I'm not paying for things, sorry, I'm not paying. And then it was like literally 2 months later is when she died. And it's like, I could have had the last interview,
Right,
mother.
right.
If she would have said she's dying in 2 months, I'd have been like, all right, I'll pay for her. But yeah, rest in peace, Gangsta Boo. She was so fucking dope. Not just as a female MC, but to come out looking hardcore in a group like 3-6 Mafia. I mean, just amazing. Number 7, Riplak.
I chose the Oscar-winning song "Hard Out Here for a Pimp."
I knew that would come up.
Yes, that shit was so dope on the movie, and it got people listening to the song a little bit, but
It kind of got them to the next level. They were on that trajectory already with like sipping on scissor and shit like that. But yeah, that really put them over. That movie was huge.
yeah, that
It was
was such a
huge.
cool moment in the movie. It starts with that beat and everything.
Right. No, that's classic 3-6, no doubt about it. Raven, number 7.
I went with "Hit a Motherfucker" from Chapter 2.
Yeah.
It gets me hype. It's like Little White got a song called like "Throw Some Chairs." That song gets me fucking real hype too. I didn't include that one, but yeah, no, it makes you want to hit a motherfucker, hit a motherfucker, hit him.
It makes me think of younger Chris trying to make the argument that music does not influence people. But then I think of this song like, I kind of want to hit a motherfucker. Maybe a little bit it does. There goes my fucking argument. All right, 6. We're going back to 2000s. When the Smoke Clears. And I'm going with Put Your Signs. This is a song that always makes me laugh, even though it's not supposed to make me laugh. But like we said, how they're way up in your face. They literally, the hook is go throw your gang sign at his face. Not just throwing up, I shouldn't throw up any sign. Not just throwing up your gang sign, but throw it up in their face and then make them hoes fight because you're throwing up your gang sign. It's just so hard as hell and so just forefront out there. Out of all the gangster rap, especially West Coast hardcore, it's just like they take it a little bit, just like so blunt. You're not just throwing them up as you're cruising down the hood. You walk up right into someone's face and throw up your set. I mean, that shit's hard as hell, right? And although the hook kind of reminds me of like a Key and Peele sketch, if they were going to make a song like that, it's too good. I had to put it on there. So that was my number 6. What about you, Kane?
I got Are You Ready for Us featuring Dayton Family. And then all I have written underneath it is 3-6 and Dayton Family. That's all the notes I got.
That's all the notes you need, though.
Right. Bootleg's verse in that song is crazy. I fucking love that shit. But yeah, 3-6 Dayton Family. Can't go wrong. Kind of like 3-6 Crucial Conflict. Yeah,
right.
Gotta be on the list.
That was an honorable mention. We love the Dayton Family. One day, got to do a Dayton Family list, and not enough people know that name. And so talented, so talented. It's a shame they never blew up bigger because just amazing. We are on number 6. Riplak, what do you got?
I got the best chant ever. When I say weak ass, you say bitch. It was a great song. I don't have to say much about that one. I do remember when it came out, though. I was riding down the street and my friend saw his kids playing with sticks, and he's like, "When I say we have, you say stick." And I was like, "Come on, man, don't ruin the song for me."
That was an honorable mention.
Do it over and over to get that whack ass version out of my head. No, it's a good song, though, man.
It's a really dope song. That call and response, I always answer. That was an honorable mention. And that When the Smoke Clears was a really solid album too. You know, I liked those chapter 1 and 2, but When the Smoke Clears was pretty dope. And I know that you are next, Raven. What's your number 6?
Number 6 was 3-6 in the morning. Police have my
My
dope.
man.
I love that the rendition that they did. You know, really anytime somebody does it, I even like Master P's fucking version of that song. I don't know. I love the original. I love the just showing the love to T and Scarecrow is awesome all the time. So
Mhm. Speaking of the Master P one, all right, we are to the halfway point. Number 5. My number 5 from the year 2005, most known unknown. And I'm going with the big single Stay Fly. That catchy hook to Stay Fly, just always gets me. It was a big single and they did multiple remixes, but I always like the OG version better. Features Young Buck, who was popping off with G Unit just like the year before. And 8 Ball and MJG, and 8 Ball kills that shit. One day we're doing 8 Ball and MJG list too, because they put out
I'm
some
on that.
damn good music. I always bob my head to this joint. So Stay Fly, had to make it. That was my number 5. Kane, what is yours?
I got Stomp off of chapter
Yes.
1, but I gotta put the intro with it too. Just because when whatever movie it's from, and they talking about the aliens and the stuff's flying in on a system, it's just like whoa, and
Mhm.
it's just bumping right there. And then Koopsta comes in, and he's like voices in them trees, and it's just the transition right there, so smooth into the album. A great way to start the album, and just a fantastic album. I love chapter 1.
No, it's a dope. That was an honorable mention too. No, chapter 1 and chapter 2 are so close.
Yeah.
You know, I say right now I edged out 2, but in a month I might say 1. It's one of those things that they're always kind of fluid. Yeah, stop. You guys are crossing off all my honorable mentions. Good job. Number 5, we are on Riplak.
I have Who Run It. Great lineup, great song, great hit.
Oh, I
I've
thought
I did I have heard from people like that's their radio stuff. They sold out like back when it came out. I was like, what the fuck? Thought it was really good.
even their radio hits, it ain't like they all of a sudden turned into, PM Dawn or something. I mean, they kept it 3-6. Selling out is when you completely change, what you're doing. But you can have a crossover hit and still keep. Look at Naughty by Nature, which we just did the episode, right? Some of the biggest hits in hip hop history, but there wasn't people being like, "Oh, Tretch is a weak ass bitch," because they kept it. They kept it hip hop and they kept it street, and somehow Soccer Mom still played their shit. So yeah, their radio hits are cool in my book. We are still on 5, and we are on Raven. What do you got?
Who Run It from
Ah,
When the Smoke Clears. It's just a really dope song. It gets me hype. It's an anthem type shit. I just love that shit.
I'm really surprised that's not an honorable mention because I do like that song too. So we are to 4 already. And for the first time, I'm going to go to where it all began, 95's Mystic Styles. And I'm going to the song Live by Your Rep, the Bone Thugs diss track. At the time they thought Bone was stealing their style, so they just dissed the hell out of them. But without hearing that, I don't think I would have made that connection. Like I said, they remind me of Project Born. If no one would have said, "Oh, they sound like Bone," I don't know if I would have put the two together. Now I can hear elements once the feud began. You could kind of say, but I think there's other groups that sound more like 3-6 than Bone does. But that's irrelevant. I always love a good diss song. And this first album, like I said, is so solid. It's a great foundation that they built upon. I just liked everything. I just didn't love a bunch of stuff because they just weren't quite there yet. But I wanted to give love to this first one, so I picked the Bone diss song. Number 4, Kane, what do you got?
In Too Deep. It's on chapter 1 and chapter 2, but there's a little bit of difference in this song. So I'd like the one on chapter 2 more. Cool song with the message of getting in too deep, from Scarecrow selling his soul, and then ending his verses like what you don't know is that you're walking into the same shoes with me. Like, goes this whole thing of selling a soul, and then tells everybody like you're doing the same thing. To DJ Paul kind of being like he didn't want to be in this gang, but kind of had to be in this gang, and his that part in his verse where he's like, 1991 was the year. 901 was the area code. 38116 was the zip code to all the rows of roads. Like that shit is so dope. Dope ass song, dope ass message where everybody coming from, getting in their own things too deep.
And yeah, that was an honorable mention too. But it was like the closest kind of you get to like an on the real song with 3-6. It's kind of their version of an on the real song, and I love those type of tracks. That would have been in my top 15, no doubt about it. And Too Deep, I'm glad that got brought up. Number 4, Riplak.
When the smoke clears, I'm so high. I, for not smoking, like being a huge smoker, and I've said this before on these, that I'm obsessed with smoking songs. So much that I made a song called "Man, I Wish I Still Smoked," so I could talk about smoking. So that's definitely high up there. I love the song. I mean, it's just a gangster ass song about getting high.
I love songs about hitting motherfuckers, but I don't really do that in my daily life much anymore either. So I can relate. I can relate to that. There's too many dope hip hop smoking songs to not like any of them. So we are still on 4. Raven, what is your number 4?
I went back to chapter 2 again, and I went with kind of the breakout Tear the Club Up '97. That's my favorite version of Tear the Club Up. Just I love the beat; it gets me hype. That song is what got them banned from playing in clubs for a long time, because people just get fucking hyped to that shit.
Really hype. And I really love the video to that, always stuck out to me because it kind of got that Fish Islands camera like Beastie Boys in there, but they would speed it
Yeah,
up, slow it down, speed it up, slow it down, just because it would make it seem like, you're kind of losing it or you're high and you're
that
in this.
mystic shit,
Yeah, it just was like done so well. Whoever produced that music video, I think did really, really good job. And another one where that song, Gangsta Boo is the highlight to me in that. I mean, she just comes in and oof, hard
Yeah, she kills that
as
shit.
so damn hard.
I like Crunchy Black in that shit too a lot.
And another good thing about, I think everyone's in that, which
Mhm.
is always, and that was probably their first like single that was kind of played in on rotation and any type of rotation. I can't remember much from chapter 1 like ever being like where I know I saw that video on YoMTV Raps or
Hell yeah.
whatever was YoMTV Raps even around 97 anymore. But I remember watching it, so it might have been BET or something, but it at least
Maybe
made
the
it that
box.
far. The box, it could have been. And we're to the top 3, and we talk about this album a lot. I'm gonna talk about it some more. 96's The End. And I'm going with Destruction Terror. This sample from LL Cool J's Mama Said Knock You Out is done so well. They slow it just enough and to make it fit the 3-6 vibe, but still has the punch, pun intended, of the original song, Mama Said Knock You Out. They add some dark laughing in the background. The beat drops in the verses, or at least elements of it. And then you get the hook with that LL line with dope scratching. It's everything I love in a hip hop song, everything I could want from 3-6 Mafia. Such a great sample, similar to the Easy E one. You talked about Mash. These are some good producers that I never looked at as dope producers until now. So it even opened my eyes. So Destruction Terror was my number 3. Kane, what is your number 3?
I got Tear the Club Up '97 off of chapter 2 also.
Hell yeah.
I would say, at this time, this is before, Stay Fly. This is before Pop My Gotti. But at this time, this is probably, I think, their most known song. I love the song. The other night, Liz and I went and saw the Mayday show.
Right.
Then we're like, all right, we didn't have the kids that night. So what are we going to do after this? And I said, you want to go to the club? Because in Madison, they got this college,
Oh,
club.
yeah, yeah.
And she's like, sure. So we're walking there. I'm playing Tear the Club Up on my phone. I'm like, we got there. We cut up the dance floor. We were tearing the club up.
Nice.
It was fun shit. Anyways, great song. It gets me hyped. Boo's verse, like you mentioned, is is standout. You know, she's she's dope.
And I'm glad you could show them college kids how the OGs tear the club up. We are still on 3. Riplak, what's your number 3?
I do have to agree with all of your kind words so far about Gangsta Boo. She's always been. I wasn't like huge into female rappers. There's some that are good, but obviously male too. I'm just saying, I'm not. Gangsta Boo was always the shit. And then I have This Bitch That Hoe with Ludacris at his peak, and when I seen he was featured on that album, I was like, what the fuck? Like, that's gonna be weird as fuck. But he actually killed it on that verse. I was big into Luda back then, so that's definitely on my top 3.
We're on 3, right? And we're on Raven. What's your number 3?
Yes. I went to Mystic Styles for the Live by Your Rep bone disc. If anything, because Scarecrow, when he opens that shit up, he fucking kills it. Many times I've talked about peeling skin off and boiling chlorine and shit because of that song. Well, I mean, in my music, not like I don't say that to people in the street normally.
That'd be a weird conversation to spark up with people on the sidewalk. All right, we are to number 2. And I'm going either to chapter 1, The End, or chapter 2, World Domination. It's on both. Late Night Tip. And I can't tell the difference between either of them. I think they're exactly the same. They just released it 2 albums in a row. And I know this is a fan favorite, and for good reason. You know, it's so good they had to put it on twice. Although on both albums, the song is edited, which I always wanted the explicit version. I've never heard an explicit version. There's another version that was on a single where the beat was different, but that was also edited. But that slow, haunting beat, it's like a funeral parlor sounding piano. It's like being at a haunted funeral, but it's a sex song. But it works. And yeah, highlight is Gangsta Boo's verse again. That beat shouldn't be for a sex-related song, but it is, and it works. So Late Night Tip. I thought I'd hear that coming up, unless it just hasn't gotten to you guys yet. So that was my number 2. Kane, what's yours?
I got 3-6-a-fix off of the Southwest Riders compilation.
That's a dope compilation.
Nice.
That is a dope compilation.
Yes.
Definitely.
And 3-6's song is, you know, I think one of the best songs on the compilation. So it tells you, you know, how good. They have everything you'd want, you know. The dope beat, the catchy chorus, the crazy dope verse and delivery, and then, you know, once again, Boo starts it out and just, you know, sets the tone for the whole thing. The piano in the beginning, super dope, just a dope song.
That completely passed by me. I never thought of that song. Good number 2. Riplak, what is your number 2?
I got Sipping on Scissor.
There it is.
Yeah, that intro is awesome. All that shit talking, and Pimp C like killed it with everybody. He killed it with them. He killed it with No Limit. He just went around and did his thing, you know. And there was a long time everybody was a Bun B person over Pimp C, but the more I listen to Pimp C, I like listening to him more than Bun B.
I would agree. I always like C a little bit. I love them both.
Yeah, Bun B's great.
And we're doing a UGK episode sooner rather than later because it's so dope. But that was an honorable mention. And that kind of changed. That was their first big hit, almost in my eyes, because you had people walking down the street using that slang. And it's like, until that song, I didn't realize, you know, all the people in the South were drinking cough syrup all that much. I probably heard of the term, but not like that. And it's another hook that sticks in your head. You're walking around. I figured it would make someone's list.
Yeah, for sure.
Number 2 for you, Raven.
I love when rappers that I love cross over and do other things.
Here it is.
So I went with Somebody Gonna Get It, or Somebody Gonna Get Their Ass Whipped, depending on which version you listen to. Mark Henry's theme song from the WWE. Yeah, I think almost every time a rapper does a WWE theme, it seems like it makes my list. But I do love wrestling, and I do love, when some of my favorite rappers throughout history jump on these things. Who didn't love Mark Henry because of his theme song more than anything?
Oh, I knew you were going to pick it, but I put it as an honorable mention because it is a good song. Even if you take it away from the Mark Henry theme, it's a good song. But even with the theme, what a great song for a big wrestler who just kicks people's ass, right? That's a perfect. And Who would have ever thought that 3-6 Mafia would be making entrance music for the WWE? That's
Right.
crazy. Number one, here we are. And I think everybody brought it up. At least two of you did. 97's World Domination, Tear the Club Up, 97. When we started this list, I wrote this at number one, figured the rest out. Not only is this my top 3-6 song, hands down, never wavered on it. This might be one of the top 10 songs, period, to get me hype. I mean, maybe top 5. I get so damn hype just hearing that beginning beat come in and just, we pretty much said everything. It's just so hype. I throw my bows. I think this is the only song I've ever thrown my bows to. It's just when I was going through this, and I'll go through each album. Every time I got to that, I'd go back and listen to this 2 or 3 times in a row, then go on. It's a song I can listen to 5 in a row, and I still never lose any of that punch. So Tear the Club Out 97, yes, they did the original one, but they just totally 10 times it 2 years later. So that was my number one, Tear the Club Up. Kane, what is yours?
I got Late Night Tip. Yeah,
Ah,
off of chapter 1 or chapter 2. I think they're both the same. The piano in the beginning, and then the dun, 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 dun,
mhm.
dun, dun, dun. Then the beat drops so perfectly, and then then Scarecrow reminds you that you're listening to a 3-6 song. Like he doesn't let you think of
Right.
all this sex stuff. He reminds you that you're listening to 3-6 Mafia, which is dope. Juicy J kills his verse. Boo and Paul back and forth on their
Yes.
verses, and just definitely a number one song to me.
Yeah, I need my hair done,
Yeah.
those
Mhm.
little back and forth. I figured that would make other people's list. Such a great song. Riplak, was it your number one?
My number one is 44 Killers. It's very short, and that's one that when I say I listen to things over and over, I did. I had like a very, very poppin' party house at the time when that was out, and we passed out when a neighbor came over that we didn't really know, and I woke up to being robbed. And one of the things that led us on to finding it was him, which it was kind of obvious, but he's not going to admit it, was he was walking by with like a Walkman on, and he was rapping that song, and we were like, oh, and like that's how we got his ass.
Damn, should have kept that song in his head.
I know, but you can't because it's too good, and that's how we
Right?
got.
Right?
So that's why that's my favorite 3-6. No, that's not why, but man, I love that song. Like that kicked that album off so hard.
Most of their albums kick off really well, and they're usually shorter like that, where you just get a bite size, but it's kind of like prepares you for, the full experience. Raven, what's your number one?
My number one, kind of like how you said with yours, I wrote this down a minute that you said we were doing a 3-6. It's I went back to Crazy in the Last Days, and it is a Scarecrow solo, but 666 Clubhouse is my favorite song from them, like of all time. The beat is so like hard and eerie, and then it switches to this like classical Mozart shit out of nowhere. Club 666 Clubhouse is it goes so hard.
So, honorable mentions, if you're here for the first time, if song doesn't get brought up by anyone and I think it needs love, I quick shout it out. So my honorable mentions, which nobody mentioned, here's a little obscure one from the Oz soundtrack. Remember the HBO show Oz?
Mm.
War with Us. That would have been in my top 20. Yeah, I like that song. Mystic Styles in the game, fucking with this click. The title track, Mystic Styles. You guys covered everything in 1, everything in 2, everything when the smoke clears. From the Unbreakables, Let's Start a Riot, very 3-6-ish. From Choices, Memphis, it's a posse track. And I also wanted to point out the various body part posse tracks. It was kind of a cool series that they did. From Most Known Unknown, Knock the Black Out Your Ass is a good fight song. And Side to Side, which is kind of a dance song about not dancing. What are we missing? Are we missing anything else?
Anyone out there off of chapter 2? I really wanted that on my list, but I didn't get it. that solo Scarecrow talking about, getting into the mental institution and getting buried and find out the janitor's buried with them. And it's a dope story.
3-6 Mafia in the books. Have a good night, everyone. Peace.
Still a B-boy,